I talked about the Snyder cut earlier of the Justice League movie, and I think I haven't seen Justice League. I haven't really seen any of the DC movies aside from, like, videos, making fun of the Justice League and other DCU movies. So, or MC, DC, EP, PP, I don't know. So I'm not really interested, but I think maybe it'll be more tonally consistent. Maybe that's a good thing. But I do like that we're gonna get... I think it's interesting that, there's an alternate cut that HBO is willing to spend $20 to $30 million on to finish the CG and to get it in the movie. I wonder what other movies could be improved by getting a director's cut and putting that much money into it. Like, that's interesting. I like that just purely because of, like, the alternate reality version of it. Rise of Skywalker. Apparently there's a lot of stuff that was cut from that movie. The problem with that movie is it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I don't think you can really remove too much because they're almost... You kind of need a lot of those elements for it to make sense at the end. And I feel like the movie's already, like, bloated. So if you add more, it's just gonna feel like a mess even further. I don't know. The only really, big extended cut movie that I want to see is the Cats movie. I just want to see that movie. With the bad special effects and stuff. And that's about it, really. The butthole cut? That's what you want to call it. I call it the quality cut. I mentioned that Alien 3 maybe in some universe is good. Or, like, very good. But I think we'd have to probably go to an alternate dimension. They found an alternate dimension in, what was it, Antarctica? Right? Where time flows backwards. I think they literally just said, like, scientists are like, yeah, we found an alternate dimension. Everyone's like, what about my healthcare? How do I feed my children? I don't care about alternate... What, aliens? I don't give a shit. Or a parallel dimension where time flows backwards. Was just confirmed, chat. It's confirmed, and no one gives a shit. Then again, I didn't even read the article, so I don't even really give a shit. I thought it was like... Yeah, that's cool. How do we get there? I don't know if we can actually get there, so... That's where my disdain arrives. It's like, well, it's cool. I mean, it's theorized. So there's not really a lot of stuff I understand in general, like ever in life, but it was like a big announcement and people were posting about it, so... But I actually think that at this point, if aliens were, like, fully disclosed, and, the government's like, oh yeah, we've had contact with them, here's a picture of a gray, I don't think people would give too much of a shit. The UFO footage that was released, people didn't really care too much about. Like, people that like UFOs have seen that footage already. I mean, yeah, they would. People would care. It would, like, there would be a lot of people that care, but I think most people would just, like, after 5 days, you know, it's like, well, what does this mean for my daily life? And I'm gonna go back to following TikTok Logan Brown and watch him, because in, like, 5 days you realize, well... Yeah, you made a deal with the aliens. Here's a picture. We're not alone. What about Logan Brown? What's he up to? And, like, that was, for me, the biggest thing in my life was, are we alone in the universe? I really, really have this intense desire to know. And I've always been really curious about that, and I look up at the stars sometimes, chat, like a weirdo, and I'm like, I wonder. But I think even me, I'd probably care for like a week. Talk about it with a couple friends. Mention it on stream a couple times, and then maybe just kinda go back to my anxiety. Anyway, there's a parallel dimension where we can get, we can go backwards in time, and we can both get the Cat's Butthole cut and Alien 3. David Fincher cut. Someone said, wait, is this real? This is real news. Well, yeah, I mean, the parallel dimension thing I mentioned was a clickbait headline that I told you about just now, yeah. When you looked into the parallel universe thing, it's likely fake. All these articles are sourcing one random paywalled article. The actual thing NASA found can't be explained, so the article was just jumping to conclusions. I think the only real way that something like that ends up being tangible for people to understand is if they find a fucking portal. It's the only way it's gonna work out, chat. They have to, like... They're in the furthest reaches of Antarctica. It's cold. There's an expedition. They're running out of food. They're cold. They're hungry. They're cold. You know, Jenkins died. You know, one of them had to have died, otherwise it's not a good movie. And, they end up finding, like, a portal in a cave, and they go in, and it's warm, and it's, you know, and there's food, and there's trees with big fruits. There's a strange noise. And they look around, they're like, what is that noise? It's alien, it's a xenomorph. And then they hear another noise, and it's like, it's a predator! And that's when Weyland Yutani began.